Coming up, an episode that will help you in your personal growth and your financial growth. Actually, it will help you in all areas of life because I am sharing the principles I learned years ago that helped me become a top salesperson and eventually led me to start my businesses. I'm sharing some of my all-time favorite books, and I'm pulling some of the most important lessons from these books that I know can help you create the life you want. The episode's starting now. Stay with me. Welcome to Shift or Get Off the Pot, the podcast that helps you get out of your head and into action so you can make your dreams your reality. Let's get to it. Today, I am sharing with you some of my all-time favorite books. These are books that have helped me throughout my life, in my personal growth, in my financial growth, and definitely in my success. I started in sales, commission sales, years ago because I watched my dad completely turn his life around when he went into sales. For years, he had been opening new branches of a company that was expanding throughout the US, which meant we moved a lot when I was a child. I was in 6 different schools by the time I was in 6th grade. Well, about 9 months into our life in California, where we were living by the beach, my dad got the call to open a new branch in Chicago, beginning in February. Now, I love Chicago, but moving to Chicago in February from warm, sunny Southern California, my dad said no, and he switched to a career in sales. And then I watched my dad do about 90% of his business on the golf course. And I thought, that's it. Who doesn't want to do that? Sign me up. So I decided to go into sales. And one of the things that you quickly learn in sales or as a business owner is just how closely linked personal development and business development are. Your business is a direct reflection of your inner thoughts, of how you value your own self and what you believe to be true about yourself. It shows up in how you lead and manage your business, your life, your day-to-day operations. And because personal development plays such an integral role in your success in any area of life, I decided that I'm going to give you some of my favorite books and explain why I think they're so helpful and how they've helped me. Every year at either Easter or Christmas, I have given my children an inspirational book or a self-improvement book. And the books I'm going to give you today are some of the books that have made it into their hands and the ones that they really liked. And so they're on this list. But this is just a small list. I originally thought I was going to give you, maybe 12 or 15 books today, but then this episode probably would have been about 2 hours. So instead, I limited it to, I think it's around 6 books. These are some of my favorites. And the ones that I'm going to focus on today have to do with cultivating an abundant mindset. Okay. The first one is by a man named Wallace Waddles. I know, quite a name, but you're probably never going to forget that name. The book is called The Science of Getting Rich. And this book has been around since the early 1900s. I think it was published like in 1910. It is a classic self-help book. It subscribes to the philosophy that everyone has the power to shape their own economic destinies through positive thinking, clear intention, and strategic action. Waddles gives a formula for acquiring wealth from the mental side first, from the inside out, because everything is created twice, first in the mental realm and then in the physical realm. Everything starts with a thought first, which stems from belief. And as I've talked about many times on this podcast, your belief determines the decisions you make and the actions you take, which ultimately leads to the results that you get. So if you don't believe you can be wealthy, or if by becoming wealthy, maybe you think you have to give up something in return. In other words, maybe you feel like I can't have the great relationship and money too, or money's going to demand so much struggle. It's going to take time away from my life. Well, then that's what you're going to experience. The science of getting rich emphasizes the importance of belief first, which is developed through gratitude and visualization. But I like to take this a step further and add self-awareness into the mix, because you cannot change what you're not aware of. And typically, those limiting beliefs are running it below our consciousness. So by paying attention to the results that you're getting, the circumstances that you continually find yourself in, you're going to have a much better understanding of your beliefs about money. And the same goes for other areas of your life too, like health or relationships. But again, I'm going to focus on the money since that's what this book is about. All of these, gratitude, visualization, and self-awareness, they all work in unison. The self-awareness allows you to become grateful for the knowledge that you're becoming aware of, which then helps you to create clear mental images or visualizations, and vice versa. When you're grateful for your current state, even for the small things, your mind latches onto that feeling and it looks to create more of it. And yes, there's science behind this, and that is that our emotions are energetic. Emotions are a very strong part of our brain. Whenever we have a rush of emotions, a specific frequency is generated in our brain, which then regulates our mood and our energy levels. And the frequency of emotions can obviously be experienced as either bad or good, sad or happy, which just dictates our mood. So when you're frustrated, angry, or sad, things are more difficult. Conversely, when you're joyful, happy, grateful, things are lighter, they're easier. The emotional energy of gratitude is operating at a different frequency, a higher frequency. In fact, if you were to chart emotional energy, you would see that anger, sadness, frustration, those are all on a lower frequency level. They drain your energy, whereas positive emotions like happiness or gratitude or love are operating at a higher level. This is why gratitude is so important in creating what you want or in changing the behaviors that you want to change. Gratitude resonates at a frequency that attracts more things to be grateful for, including wealth and opportunities, because your mind will naturally seek out more of that emotional energy. It's the whole dopamine effect that I talked about in a previous episode. And if you didn't catch that episode, don't worry about it. I will link it in the show notes. But this is how you start to change the behaviors or let go of the behaviors that maybe you don't like. Gratitude helps you to become more self-aware because now you're paying attention to your emotions. And again, this helps you to create clearer and more empowering visualizations and more empowering decisions and actions and obviously results. In The Science of Getting Rich, Waddles asserts that anyone, regardless of their circumstances, can attract prosperity by tapping into what he calls the certain way, which is just a mindset focusing on positive thought and constructive action. It's never going to be just thought alone. It has to be backed by action. But you have to elevate the thoughts first, because if you don't, then you won't take the action to acquire the wealth. You won't learn how to invest. You won't learn how to save. You won't go for the higher paying possessions. You won't value yourself enough to raise your rates and charge what your services are worth because the belief is lacking. And it's the same for relationships. It's the same for health. It's the same for getting fit. If the belief is lacking, you're not going to take the action. What I also like about this book is that he contrasts the competitive mindset, which just views resources as limited and leads to competition, with a creative mindset, which recognizes infinite possibilities. With a creative approach, you focus on generating value and creating new opportunities instead of competing for existing or what you think are limited resources. It's just a shift in perspective. And instead of viewing others as competitors, you start to see them as potential collaborators. And instead of seeing challenges as roadblocks, you turn that around and you view them as opportunities to create something new and valuable. And whenever you do that, you open yourself to more opportunities and greater possibilities. So there you have it. That is my take on the science of getting rich. Another book that is similar is a book that emphasizes the importance of also understanding your mental view of money, and maybe if you have different money blocks. And that is Harv Eker's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's written for anyone looking to really shift their perception of money and understand the inner workings of wealth, or see if they have any kind of limiting beliefs around money. Eker believes that everyone has a money blueprint, or kind of a money thermostat that could be holding us back from earning more. And unless we understand what our money thermostat is set to, just like the frequency of emotions and the science of getting rich, we won't be able to switch that. So he emphasizes understanding what it is set to and then taking the steps to change it. It's a great read. It's a quick read, actually. And then there's another book that is also about creating wealth from the inside out, and that is the Abundance book by John Randolph Pierce. This is a very small book, but it is a great book. It takes a spiritual approach to abundance. It emphasizes the importance of understanding God or the universe as all source of supply. And in it, Pierce offers a 40-day prosperity plan. And just like the other books, it starts with mindset and recognizing any limiting beliefs or blocks around money that you might have, and then releasing those and replacing those beliefs through his prosperity plan. And then there's another book, kind of the same thing. It's called Happy Pocket Full of Money. Quick read, simple read, but it is about discovering the value within yourself and the value within other people and being of service to other people. And then one of my all-time absolute favorite books. This is one of the very first books I read on sales. And interestingly enough, it's not even really about sales, but it has sales in the title. But it's one of the things that helped me become a top salesperson in my industry. And it's a book that my dad gave me, actually, when I first got into sales. And it's not even about overcoming objections or any sales principles, but it is a great book if you are in sales, if you're a business owner, honestly, if you just want to elevate your life experience. And that is Og Mandino's The Greatest Salesman in the World. I could not put this book down. I read it in one sitting. I probably have read it about 5 times since, mostly because Og Mandino is a great storyteller. Mandino himself was in the insurance industry. He was an executive editor of a magazine called Success Unlimited. But before that, before he became successful, he was in the Army. When he got out of the Army, he became an alcoholic. And then at one point, he actually contemplated suicide. But he started reading books on success, which led him to self-improvement books, because remember, personal development, business development go hand in hand. And he was led to another great book by a man named W. Clement Stone. And that book is called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. Great book. W. Clement Stone owned an insurance agency. And Og Mandino, after reading the book, contacted him and got a position in insurance sales. He went on to become a top salesperson, breaking all sorts of records. And then he started to write about success and his journey to success, which led him to become the executive editor of Success Unlimited magazine. Well, eventually he went on to become a top speaker and a best-selling author. I think he wrote about 19 or 20 books, all with inspirational messages. Again, he's a great storyteller, but The Greatest Salesman in the World, my absolute favorite book of Og Mandino's, sold I think over 50 million copies. It was translated into 25 or 26 different languages. Incredible book, well worth the read. Any of his books are well worth a read, I think. There you have it. Some of my recommended books, and that is just a snippet. I mean, that's 5 or 6 books that I gave you. I could easily give you 100 books. I am a voracious reader, and obviously I read a lot about personal development. I mean, I owned a franchise in the personal development industry, so it's something that I really enjoy because it helps you in all areas of your life. But these principles in these books, yes, a lot of these have to do with abundance, about money, but these are life principles and they will apply to any area of your life, and they will help you in honestly elevating your life in relationships, in health, in wellness, and of course, in abundance as well. And living truly a life that that you love, a life on your terms. So there you have it. Some of my favorite books. I will list these books down below, and I will be back again with you in a few days. Happy reading. Thanks so much for joining me here today. If you want some help achieving your goals, you can grab the Success Bundle link down below, or head over to my website, kimkellythompson.com, where I have several free resources to help you. If you like what you've heard today, please consider hitting that subscribe button and join me throughout the week for episodes that will help you make your dreams your reality. I'll be back again soon with another edition of Shift or Get Off the Pot.